At Thanksgiving, my sister discovered I had $12 million, and my family demanded I give it to her, claiming she deserved it more. My sister's discovery of my $12 million fortune at our Thanksgiving dinner didn't just feel like an invasion of privacy. It was the detonation of a lifetime of carefully suppressed grievances. In the chaotic aftermath, as my family's demands to hand over the money grew more frantic and entitled, I wasn't just defending my bank account. I was finally defending my entire sense of self. From the moment Rachel was born prematurely, a clear and unspoken hierarchy was established in our home. She was fragile, she was special, and her needs were urgent. I, on the other hand, was independent and resilient, a trait that was less a compliment and more a justification for neglect. My childhood was a series of quiet dismissals. The memory of my perfect SAT score is forever tied to the image of my mother's back as she helped Rachel with homework, offering a distracted, "That's nice, honey," without even looking up. My acceptance letters from top universities, earned through my own relentless effort, were met with a sigh about the financial burden of Rachel's extracurriculars. The refrigerator door, perpetually adorned with her mediocre achievements, never had room for my accolades. I didn't just stumble into jewelry. I found refuge in it. My grandmother's house, where I was often sent when I was too much, or when Rachel might catch something, became my sanctuary. Sorting her costume jewelry was more than a pastime. It was a lesson in seeing value where others saw only junk. That foundational skill became my armor and my weapon. At the auction house, I was the quiet one who saw the truth hidden beneath layers of tarnish and assumption. The day I authenticated a mislabeled Art Deco brooch that sold for $47,000 was the day I realized my vision, the very thing that made me weird to my family, was my greatest asset. The decision to start my own business was born from a deep-seated knowledge that I would never be truly valued in a structure that saw me as secondary. The risk was terrifying. The loans felt like a noose, the cramped office above the Chinese restaurant was a humbling reminder of my gamble, and the scent of Kung Pao chicken became the aroma of my anxiety. But with every client I served, every rare piece I correctly identified, I wasn't just building a company. I was building a citadel of my own worth, brick by brick. The irony was both painful and empowering. The very attention to detail I'd honed by being forced to observe my family from the sidelines was now making me a leader in a field built on observation. The anonymous $7,000 monthly transfers were my attempt to fulfill a twisted sense of duty without having to engage emotionally. I told myself I was helping my parents, but part of me was also buying my freedom from their guilt trips. Watching Rachel use that money for designer handbags and lavish vacations, all while my parents praised her frugal finds, was a surreal exercise in restraint. I was the ghost at the feast, the silent architect of a comfort I was never allowed to share. Thanksgiving was the inevitable collision of these two realities. My attempt to give them a stress-free, luxurious meal was just another act of invisible service. When Rachel, in a fit of pettiness, snatched my laptop to expose my little hobby, she didn't just open my financial records. She opened a portal to a life they had never bothered to imagine for me. The numbers on the screen weren't just dollars. They were a testament to every overlooked hour, every dismissed idea, every silent sacrifice. Their reaction was a masterpiece of toxic entitlement. The outrage wasn't about being excluded from my joy. It was about being excluded from controlling my resources. My mother's scream, "You have millions and you let us struggle?" was the culmination of a lifetime of believing my role was to facilitate Rachel's life. My father's accusation of selfishness was a betrayal that cut deeper than any demand for money. In that moment, the last fragile thread of hope for their approval finally snapped. Walking out was the hardest and most liberating act of my life. The subsequent harassment, the angry texts, the flying monkeys, their dramatic appearance at my office, only confirmed my decision. They didn't want a relationship. They wanted a reinstatement of the old order, with me as the compliant funder. Canceling the monthly transfers wasn't vindictive. It was a necessary surgical removal of a toxic lifeline. Now, on the other side, the silence is profound. My business thrives, not in spite of the drama, but because my focus is no longer divided. The energy I once spent managing their perceptions and soothing their egos is now channeled into my own growth. I heard through the grapevine that Rachel is trying to start her own jewelry firm, a venture I'm sure my parents are funding with what's left of their savings. The poetic justice is not lost on me. My family taught me a brutal but valuable lesson. That worth isn't given, it is built. They taught me to find validation within myself, because I would never find it in them. And for that, however painful the curriculum, I am finally and truly grateful.